Hi guys, James from DBG here, and here's part 2 of the showcase video, what I was doing for the past few weeks. As you can see, it's something totally different to the last one. Last one was 40k, oh, camera, tripod, how? 40k, Space Wolves. This time, it's Kings of War. Excuse me. Now, if you don't know what Kings of War is a mass battle fantasy game that really took off when Games Workshop decided to kill Warhammer Fantasy Battles and do Age of Sigmar. Loads of people who were so upset with Games Workshop for doing that left fantasy and found Kings of War. Now, Mantic have got lots of games. Some of them are very good. I have read a couple of the first 2 editions of the Kings of War rules, not the third. I have to say they're a good set of rules. They are a good set of rules. They're written by Alessio Calvatore. Obviously, he used to work for Games Workshop. Now is a freelance games designer and writer. Famously did stuff like Bolt Action, and I think he did Black Powder and stuff for Warlord Games and a few other bits and bobs. And obviously he's done a few games for Mantic as well. But yeah, so Kings of War is basically, as I said, it's a massed battle game. So it's designed to be played on a 6x4 with large armies. And unlike 40k and fantasy, you don't remove models. You put a marker or a dice down by the unit base to keep a track of the number of wounds it's taken. And when you hit certain numbers, you have to take a test, and then when you hit the final number, it's dead. So yeah, that's the way it works. Movement is very similar to what I would remember as Warhammer Fantasy. And it still has a plethora of races, loads of stuff. I know I keep making the comparison, but it's very easy to make. Loads of stuff in Warhammer Fantasy, but there's loads of other things, like there's Forces of Nature, which has like tree spirits and fawns and stuff like that. There's loads of different stuff, and they've got their own demons, and they've got their own sort of like undead. There's 3 types of undead. There's a standard, what you would remember undead, then you've got the Tomb Kings type of undead, then you've got the spooky, gribbly, ghosty, poltergeisty, apparition-y, nasty undead, or demon-y, or dimensional. Anyway, so yeah, there's loads of cool stuff. And I have to say, because I've made a lot of them, that their fantasy zombies are the best fantasy zombies I've seen on the market. They're much better than Games Workshop ones. Not as much versatility in options as there is with the Games Workshop one, but they look better. They look like zombies. They look like proper shambling fantasy zombies. Anyway, so ramble over. So basically what I've done here, what I was asked to do is multi-base them. Now, part of the system of Kings of War is every regiment or troop, okay, I should start again. Excuse me. Unit sizes come in various sizes. The smallest is a troop, then you have a regiment, then you have a horde, then you have a legion, and depending on the type of troop, like for instance cavalry, that is a regiment of cavalry. A horde of cavalry would be this. A legion of cavalry will be 2 more next to it, like that. Okay. Infantry depends on whether it is on a 20 or 25mm base. Obviously, orcs are on a 25mm base. Normal humans are on a 20mm base. And then you have large infantry, such as these guys here. These guys are called Eloi. They're sort of like angel. They sort of come down, and yeah, they're very good. This whole faction is called Basileans, which is basically a mix of knightly orders, religious nuns, and these well, it could be comparison to Sisters of Battles and Space Marines, basically, but in a fantasy sense. And these guys could be classed as Stormcast Eternals, but really big. So yeah, so this would be classed as a regiment of large infantry, and obviously a horde would be double that, and a legion would be that again. So yeah, that's how that sort of thing works. So yeah, so as I said, what we have here is a regiment of Eloi, 2 regiments of Panther Lancers, and I believe these ones are designed to go on the end or as singles. I don't know why, I was just asked to do that. So without further ado, let's have a quick look. Now you're going to watch me drop this. So as you can see, the sculpts are okay. They're not earth-shattering, they're not really going to workshop levels as you would expect, really. But they're good enough. I mean, the flames going up and down the swords are a bit... The wings are good. I like the wings. The wings are easy. But the rest of it, the detail, well, it's Mantic. The detail has always been a bit soft with Mantic. But the undead stuff is really cool, as I like it. And standard MDF base. Then all I did was I built up layers of corkboard, roughly torn to shape. Then I used standard everyday filler just to fill in the gaps. Then I put then I stuck the miniatures on. Then I did my usual sand, gravel and slate mix, painted it all, dry brushed it all up, and then added 2 colours of static grass. One is a dark green, you can't really tell with the light, but one is a dark green and the other is a sort of more spring green, a fresher green. Now, we'll use this girl as an example. The Panthers I like. I think the Panthers are a really nice sculpt. The Sisters, specifically the saddles, bit poo, to be perfectly frank and honest. Proportions are all a bit off. Heads are a bit small, arms are a bit long. This stuff is resin. Mantic call it sprueless plastic. Don't know why, it's resin. So you have to use super glue to put it together. But it resists reshaping like an absolute bastard. Just like Failcast, except this stuff is actually nicer than Failcast. It doesn't hold detail very well, like you would expect with, well, I'm used to working with other resins, like Battlefront resin that they use for their vehicles, for Flames of War, and Warlord Games resin, and obviously Foretold resin is a lot nicer than this stuff. But what can I say? Sorry, I have my tripod at a really odd angle and I'm sort of kneeling down to do this, so if you hear any strange noises, it's my aged joints creaking. So let's all move these to one side and let's have a look at a regiment of Panther Lancers. Now, as you can see, this one's a prime example of the lances being warped. It really was just the lances, and this one you've got a prime example of the heads. There's 4 different heads there, and each one is a slightly different size. The hooded one and the one that looks like it's got a wimple and a coif on, really small. The bare-headed ones, really big. The arms, totally out of proportion. The saddles, oh, there we go. Saddles, a bit poo. But the Panthers, really nice. Especially the leaping one. I do like the leaping one. So yeah. Yeah. All in all, these were really fun to do. I know I've probably spent a bit of time whinging about Mantic and their quality and the resin and the sculpts and stuff, but all in all, they look cool, which is really what you want. I was being particularly picky, okay? I'm just used to different companies and different levels of quality. These guys are more than good enough to go on your battlefield. But the thing about King's War is Mantic don't care what miniatures you use, just as long as you play their game. So there's loads of stuff out there, especially if you want to do, because they have a halfling army. And there's loads of new halfling stuff out there, and there's loads, yeah, there's loads of stuff. Anyway, I think I've rambled on. Maybe be a bit negative, maybe a bit too negative. Pop that down in the comment section. We'll have a bit of a discussion if you think I'm being too negative about Mantic. They do good games, just sometimes their miniatures are a little bit ropey, and the Basileans have a reputation of being a little bit ropey. Anyway, I've rambled on far too long, and I've said ramble far too many times. So, do check the links in the description to all the sponsors and affiliates. I can never remember them, so just please check them out. The one for Goblin Gaming, which I always remember, if you click on that, it'll take you straight to the shop and give you a nice discount, either 15 or 20%. Can't remember which. And then we get a little cut of that, and we can put that towards buying stuff for some of the core projects we have, or we're trying to do this year. Anyway, also there's Patreon, so for as little as $1 a month you can whack us a bit of cash, and again that can help us do cool stuff, and that we're all planning to do this year as well. And as usual, without oh god, I'm having an absolute brain fart today, I do apologise. As usual, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you next time.